Whipple Family Misadventures Book 8 Ensure There Is No Sickness in the Mind or Heart Chapter 1.
How come you didn't go to work today?
Well, since we were gone all weekend, I needed a day off.
Wade said, putting his cup of coffee down. Both boys had been surprised when they woke up to find him in the living room, and not Melissa like usual. While it had been incredible of Tom to figure out a way to make it work for both of them, it meant that Wade would be working alone with Eric the following day, who would most likely have a lot of questions. Wade pushed that thought out of his head, as he had more important things to dwell on, not how Eric was adjusting to finding out both his coworkers had alien kids.
Anyway, I've got a lot of stuff I need to get done today, and you guys are going to come with me.
Silver looked up at him, currently in the middle of using his powers to spoon cereal into his mouth.
Is that why you wanted to clean the house before we left?
Exactly. I knew I was going to be tired when we got back.
He paused, as he knew the next piece of news wasn't going to go over well.
And one of those errands that we have to do is go to the vet clinic to see Maddie. And she's going to do a blood draw for you both.
Shadow dropped his spoon on the table. The look of alarm couldn't have been more pronounced than if it had announced that both of them had to have all their quills yanked out one at a time.
Why?
Wade thought about what he was going to say carefully, as he didn't want to cause more worry. The real reason was because Maddie had been rather alarmed to find out he had green blood and wanted to learn more. But he also knew this wasn't going to go smoothly no matter what he said. He wanted to be honest, but not to the point that it would make the situation worse.
She just wants to check something.
What's a blood draw?
Shadow turned toward him.
They take this massive needle, one that's longer than your fingers, and they jam it in your arm really deep.
No, Shadow.
Wade said hurriedly as Silver gasped and his ears went flat.
You both have met Maddie. She wouldn't do that. It will be like when you were sick from being dehydrated and she put that needle in your arm to give you fluids, Silver. Except instead of giving you fluids, she's going to take a small amount of blood for her to look at.
The gray hedgehog's eyes were still full of fear and worry.
Is it going to hurt?
Yes.
It'll pinch a bit, but it will be over quickly.
Silver thought about that for a moment and then looked back at his brother.
How do you know so much about this?
Right on cue, Shadow pinned his ears back and stared down stubbornly at the table.
Why do we have to do this? Is it really necessary? Can't we just stay home?
Because it is necessary.
Wade said, finishing his coffee.
Because no one here on Earth knows that much about your guys' biology. And Maddie needs to learn before either of you get injured or sick, so she knows the best way to take care of you. That's all. Now both of you finish your breakfast and we can get going.
Shadow grumbled under his breath and didn't take another bite. Maddie smiled when she came out of the back of the clinic to see them in the waiting room, wearing light blue scrubs, her hair pulled into little puffs.
Hi, how are you guys doing?
Not the best. I cannot overstate how much they don't want to do this.
I understand. Don't worry, boys. This won't be bad. How was the trip? I heard I got a bit crazy.
Stopping, Wade stared into the distance, exhaling slowly as he tried to think of a polite way to say it had been absolutely miserable for him.
Well, I'm just going to say I'm going to plan ahead so next year I don't have to deal with any of it, and leave it at that. What did Tom tell you?
She glanced down at the boys.
Then all three of them got into a bucket of trouble. The whole thing last night with Eric and you guys came home with a fourth one, a girl, who's now with Carl.
Just until we figure something else out.
Sure, I'll try and call him later. So who's going to be first?
Both Silver and Shadow folded their ears down, staring back at them nervously.
Silver.
Wade decided. While he had very little idea how Silver would take to this, he knew Shadow would hate it with every fiber of his being and decided to leave him for last. Not to mention, if Silver heard Shadow pitching a fit, he might decide that it would be awful as well.
Come on, it will be nice and quick. We'll be right back. Shadow, you wait out here.
The gray hedgehog looked down, but allowed himself to be steered into an exam room with them.
Remember the last time I was in here? That wasn't fun.
Maddie patted the table twice for him to hop up onto.
It wasn't. Have you been drinking your water?
Yeah. Sometimes I even remember before the light flashes at me.
That's good. By the way, I like that hoodie you're wearing. It looks good on you.
We had to shave his fur, and it's been slow to regrow.
Maddie raised an eyebrow.
Oh, okay. I want to have a quick look at you before we get down to business.
She listened to his heart and lungs, looked in his ears and mouth.
Do you want to clean his teeth soon?
She made note of that on a clipboard.
How are you feeling today? Anything you need to tell me about?
Silver thought for a moment.
My stomach hurts, but that's normal.
Both Wade and Maddie paused.
Your stomach hurts?
Yeah.
Silver said, swinging his arms back and forth casually, nothing in his tone or body language that said he thought this wasn't something that happened to everyone.
But it's normal. No worse than it usually does.
The look Maddie shot Wade out of the corner of her eye was near accusing, like he had put this idea in Silver's head and that he should never bring it up.
You never mentioned that. Either of you.
He's never told me. What do you mean it's normal for your stomach to hurt? Like you feel like you're going to be sick?
No.
Silver said, tilting his head to the left.
It's just normal. That sometimes happens, but not since I came to live with you.
He said, holding his hands up over what was his lower abdomen.
Just sometimes, like it cramps. And then I have to go to the toilet a lot. That happens too.
What did you have for breakfast?
Cereal.
With milk?
Yes.
She gave Wade another look.
That sounds like lactose intolerance.
Holding up her phone, she typed something quickly and then held out the screen to show him.
All earth hedgehogs are lactose intolerant.
Heat flooded his face, as he had absolutely no idea. Even more so that he had been feeding both his kids food and drinks that possibly made both of them sick and he wasn't even aware. Neither of them had ever mentioned this before, so there was no reason to suspect it.
Does that mean all of them are lactose intolerant?
Silver looked confused.
What?
I'm not sure. Lactose intolerance. It means there is a protein in dairy like milk, cheese, and ice cream that your body might not be able to digest, and it makes you sick when you drink it. If that's what's going on, it's not normal for your stomach to hurt like this.
The gray hedgehog let one ear drop.
It's normal for me. It happened a lot before I came to Earth.
It's not normal here.
So I can't have milk or ice cream anymore.
Wade already had plans to go grocery shopping when they were done with this visit and made a mental note to get lactose-free milk and cheese later while they were there to see if that brought any change.
No, some humans can't have it either, so there's alternatives.
Oh.
I'll let Tom know about this later. See if this change makes a difference for either of them.
Maddie said, before reaching for a tray with instruments, including everything she needed to draw his blood.
All right, let's get this over with.
Wade reached out as Silver took a step backwards, looking like he was about to fly off the table to get away from it.
Hey, you're okay. It's going to be all right. Remember, it's just going to be a little pinch.
What if it's not?
At that moment, Wade wished Maddie was a human doctor, as he would have asked for a benign shot for himself if it meant they could deal with this easier. But she wasn't, so she couldn't.
It will be.
Maddie smiled at Silver.
Have you ever seen an earth bunny?
That made him stop squirming right away.
No. They have those here.
They do. You want to see one? We've been fostering a bunny here at the clinic for the last week because his owner couldn't take care of him anymore. His fur is only a bit darker than yours.
Silver's jaw dropped.
Really? I want to see him.
Let me finish this up and then you can.
Maddie promised. She took his skinny little arm and spent a moment fussing with it, applying a tourniquet and cleaning the crook of his elbow with a swab before she inserted the needle.
Make a fist and don't look.
She warned, and Silver turned his face away with a grimace. Wade, however, didn't. He glanced down and frowned as he got a good look at the color of Silver's blood. Bright ruby red, the same color as any other time he saw blood. A million questions sprung to mind, and it only made him worry more. When Maddie had finished putting everything away and wrapping a bandage around the area, she held up 2 more needles, clearly vaccines.
I want to do these this time. This one is rabies, just to be safe, and will be helpful in case anyone ever tries to save their wild animals. And this is for mites. I spoke to an old friend from vet school who went into exotic medicine, and she said earth hedgehogs very commonly get mites, and it can cause quill loss from itching. I'm not sure if any of them have mites already, but I'd prefer to stop it before it gets started.
Wade nodded. Maddie leaned toward Silver.
This will pinch a bit, but then you can go see Smokey the Bunny.
Wade had to admit, he was proud of his son. He was waiting for screaming, howling, or crying, but only got a few whimpers as he held him in his lap, gently soothing him until Maddie finished.
And you're all done.
Smokey turned out to be a very large, fluffy, lop-eared rabbit, with a fur color that matched his name. Silver gasped in delight as a vet tech put the rabbit into his arms. The rabbit was so big, he had to sit down to be able to hold it properly.
So does he live here now?
Only until we find him a new home.
At that moment, Wade hated her for telling him that.
Dad?
No.
Wade said without hesitation. He hadn't had a pet in over a decade, not since the dog he had gotten as a teenager. The one that lived through dating, marrying, and then divorcing his ex-wife had finally passed away in his mid-20s. It had been too painful to even think about getting another one afterward, and then life happened. He had always known this question would come, that the boys would beg for a pet sooner or later, but had not been expecting it today of all days. Silver pouted.
Why not? He is so cute and fluffy. Please, please.
And he'll need a lot of care, like keeping his cage clean and making sure he has food and water every day. In bed, you're still working on remembering to do your own chores and personal grooming without being reminded. I'm not sure you're ready to be responsible for a rabbit.
Silver looked down at the rabbit.
But what if I get better at that?
That's a what-if question, but for today, he's not coming home with us.
Maybe you can come back and visit him sometimes, though. He likes people and really enjoys being held.
Okay, Dad, can I still hold him while Shadow has his turn?
Hi, yeah, you can play with him while it's Shadow's turn, but when it's time to go, you're going to give him back without whining or more begging to keep him. If you do, then you won't be allowed to come back to see him.
Silver bobbed his head up and down. Hoping that he had dodged at least some of a bullet, Wade turned back toward Maddie.
Alright, that was the easy one. I'll go get Shadow.
Maddie pursed her lips together.
How bad do you think this is going to be?
I'm not sure.
Wade said with a sigh and went to go collect his second son. While he knew it would be more difficult, he wasn't surprised when Shadow came into the exam room, took one look at the needle Maddie was holding and promptly bolted. Wade made no effort to stop him and just let him go. He had read online that making someone feel trapped would make it much worse.
And there's your answer. We're going to need a minute.
Just a minute, or do you think you'll need longer?
Judging on how fast he took off, it's going to be a bit.
I'm going to go see another patient. I'll check back in 10 to 15 minutes.
She was about to go back deeper into the clinic when she paused.
You know, if he's really struggling, mild sedation is always an option.
I'm not sure how he will feel about that.
Wade said and then went in search of his son. He found Shadow standing next to Silver a minute later, quietly stroking Smokey the rabbit's back.
Isn't he soft, Shadow? One of the people who work here gave me a treat for him, and he took it right from my hand.
Yeah, he is.
Shadow said, glancing up nervously when Wade walked over toward them.
Hey, buddy.
Wade said gently, keeping his voice mild so neither thought he was upset.
We're not finished in there yet. You need to come back. You want to go now, or do you want to pet the bunny for another minute and then go?
Shadow glared at the floor.
I don't want to do this at all. Can we please just go home?
I know you don't, but this is really important. So now, or in a minute?
In a minute.
Wade nodded, pleased to know that an agreement to at least return to the exam room was part of the battle.
Okay.
He dutifully waited for 4 minutes, watching as both boys obsessed over that rabbit. He was not going to hear the end of the begging anytime soon, that was for sure.
All right, let's go.
Very slowly, dragging his feet, Wade managed to get him back inside the exam room. Maddie hadn't returned yet, so it was just the two of them.
Shadow, why don't you tell me what you're afraid of?
Wade suggested, sitting down on the chair.
That it will hurt?
No.
Then what is it?
The darker hedgehog was quiet for several stubborn seconds.
They used to hold me down to do stuff. I couldn't get away, even when it was extremely painful.
I can see why that would be upsetting.
Wade said. No wonder Shadow seriously hated coming here. Being reminded of that would be triggering and extremely upsetting.
And very scary. But it's not going to happen to you today. You know Maddie. She's not mean, you know that. She would never do something like that to you. And also I'm here. I wouldn't let her or anyone else do that to you. Ever.
After a moment, Shadow nodded.
Okay.
Wade leaned back.
There are 2 other things I wanted to tell you about. One, and I'm sorry, but you're going to get 2 shots today as well. Yes, you need to get them.
He winced when Shadow's gaze shot up, full of alarm.
And 2, if you like. Maddie can give you a sedative to make this easier.
Shadow's red eyes were full of suspicion.
A sedative?
Medicine, it will help you relax and make this a lot easier than just being stressed over everything.
A moment later, Wade realized that had been the wrong thing to say.
No!
Shadow yelled and started pacing in tight circles, flapping both hands, shaking wildly.
No! I don't want medicine. I don't want blood taken. I don't want to be here. It smells the same way here. I want to go home.
What started in a yell ended in broken sob. Exhaling slowly, Wade sank to his knees, took the distraught hedgehog in his arms and hugged him tightly. At that moment, he hoped that Shadow would never get seriously injured or sick in the near future, because he would have had to literally drag him kicking and screaming to get medical care. The door leading to the back of the clinic trembled slightly and Wade looked up to see a vet tech looking in the small window, frowning at the 2 of them. She moved away quickly, but not before Wade saw the dirty look she had been giving Shadow. Clearly one of judgment that said get him under control, discipline him for acting out like that. In that moment, Wade wanted to go after her, to let her know that Shadow wasn't acting like this before he was trying to be manipulative or having a tantrum, but literally because he was so forlorn and upset. Looking down at Shadow, so clearly miserable and unhappy with being forced to be here, Wade made a decision for what to do next.